The struggle for the skies is, at its heart, a brutal physics problem. It's a fight against gravity, against drag, against the very limits of materials and human endurance. And the story of the warplane is the story of how we solve those problems, one desperate innovation at a time. From canvas and wood to radar-absorbent composites, each leap wasn't just about weapons. It was about mastering a new law of the air. Let's start at the beginning, in World War I. The first military planes weren't weapons, they were eyes. Fragile biplanes like the British BE-2 or the German Taube were used for reconnaissance, but pilots soon started carrying pistols, then rifles, and eventually machine guns. The big problem? How do you shoot through the spinning propeller arc? The engineering solution was the synchronization gear, or interrupter gear. It was a mechanical link that timed the machine gun's fire to miss the blades. A simple yet brilliant bit of physics-based timing. Now, the biplane design itself is fascinating from an aerodynamic perspective. Two wings create a lot of lift at low speeds, which was essential with those weak engines. But all those struts and wires? They create tremendous drag. Pilots' accounts from the time often talk about the shuddering, the strain of pulling the aircraft through the air in a dive. Speed was limited by this drag and by engine power. Dogfights were slow, turning battles of attrition, governed by the physics of lift, drag, and the pilot's own stamina against G-forces. The interwar period was a laboratory. Engineers moved to monoplane designs. One wing, with a strong internal spar, created less drag. But a thicker, stronger wing needed retractable landing gear to keep it clean in flight. This was a major engineering challenge. Engines became more powerful, supercharged to work at higher altitudes where the air is thin. This introduced a new variable: pressurized cockpits. Pilots were now pushing into realms where human biology became a design constraint. Then came World War II, and the physics problems multiplied. The goal was clear: more speed, more firepower, more survivability. The iconic aircraft of that era are case studies in compromise. The Spitfire's elliptical wing was aerodynamically efficient, great for turning. The Mustang's laminar flow wing reduced drag for incredible long-range performance. But speed brought a new, terrifying barrier: compressibility. As planes like the P-38 Lightning Dove at high speeds, they approached the sound barrier. Here's where the physics gets intense. As you approach Mach 0.8 or so, air can't get out of the way fast enough. It compresses in front of the aircraft. Shock waves form on control surfaces, causing buffeting, locking the controls. A phenomenon pilots called the stick freezing. Many pilots died trying to pull out of these high-speed dives. The solution wasn't just more power, it was new wing shapes. Swept wings, which delay the onset of these shock waves, were discovered by the Germans and later perfected. This all leads to the single biggest breakthrough: the jet engine. Piston engines were hitting a wall. They needed propellers, which become inefficient as tip speeds approach supersonic. The jet, pioneered by Frank Whittle and Hans von Ohain, worked on a different principle: suck, squeeze, bang, blow. It took in air, compressed it, burned fuel with it for massive expansion, and blasted it out the back for thrust. It was simpler in theory, brutally complex in practice, dealing with temperatures and stresses that melted early metals. The early jets, like the Me-262 or the Gloucester Meteor, were faster but thirsty and tricky. The real evolution came in the Cold War. The quest was now for supersonic flight. To break the sound barrier, you needed not just thrust, but the right shape. The Bell X-1, with its bullet-like fuselage and thin, straight wings, did it in 1947. But for sustained supersonic flight, you needed that swept wing, and a new kind of intake to manage the shock waves and feed air smoothly to the engines. This era also saw the rise of a new physics: radar and electronic warfare. Aircraft now had to manage their electromagnetic signature. This birthed specialized planes. Radar-equipped night fighters, electronic warfare jets like the EA-6B Prowler that jammed signals, and early warning aircraft like the E-3 Sentry, which were essentially radar stations in the sky. The next great leap was the boosted fighter, the F-4 Phantom. the MiG-21. They traded pure dog-fighting agility for raw speed, climb rate, and missile armament. Pilots became systems managers. The physics of combat shifted from turning circles to energy management. Who had the most potential and kinetic energy to position for a missile shot? It was a more mathematical, less visceral form of combat. Then, in the 1970s and 80s, we attacked a different kind of physics problem: visibility. Not for the pilot, but for radar, stealth. This wasn't about magic paint, it was about geometry and materials. Engineers at Lockheed's Skunk works, led by Ben Rich, realized that radar waves reflect predictably off surfaces and edges. By shaping an aircraft with flat, angled panels and using radar-absorbent materials, you could scatter and absorb those waves, making the plane appear as small as a bird on enemy screens. The F-117 Nighthawk was the first. It looked like a collection of flat triangles, a shape dictated not by aerodynamics, but by the physics of electromagnetic wave reflection. Computers were now essential to fly such an inherently unstable design. Today's fifth-generation fighters like the F-22 and F-35 integrate all these lessons. They combine stealth, supercruise, supersonic flight without fuel-gulping afterburners, sensor fusion, and networked data. The pilot is now at the center of a vast information sphere, seeing the battlefield through data fused from the plane's own sensors and those of allies. The physics challenge is now about managing heat, the incredible infrared signature of a jet engine, and about processing petabytes of data faster than the enemy. So, from the wire-braced biplane to the software-laden stealth jet, each generation of warplane represents a victory over a specific set of physical limits. It's a story of converting fuel into speed, aluminum into strength, and data into awareness. The cockpit has always been where human courage meets the unyielding laws of physics. And that contest has rewritten the rules of war itself. Which technological leap in aviation history, the jet engine, stealth, or perhaps something else, do you think presented the most difficult physics and engineering challenge? Share your thoughts in the comments below.